Hey guys, this is Cam315 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And I'm back with a very interesting video because I typically do not talk movie stuff and theories and stuff like that. Now I do movie reviews, but I don't talk about my own thoughts and stuff like that. But yes, we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Obviously the most highly anticipated movie you could say of the year. Which funny enough is going to end off 2021 of and stuff like that. But yes. If you guys didn't know, tickets went on sale as of yesterday. Well, really today, but truly yesterday at midnight, Eastern Standard Time Zone. And man, was those tickets hard to get? Yes, I got my tickets for opening night. It was a hassle to end up getting the tickets because for some reason, all the movie sites that were selling the tickets for some odd reason were like ill prepared to handle this, which I don't understand. It's funny because I relate everything that happened last night with the tickets to like the PS5, the PS5 incident, where if you remember around the same time, um, last year when the PS5 was the thing, so many people were trying to buy the PS5 online, and websites literally were crashing. Walmart was crashing, Target, GameStop, everywhere was crashing, and you couldn't get a PS5. The same thing happened here with the Spider-Man No Way Home tickets. Places like Fandango, Regal, AMC, movie tickets anywhere, everywhere. You couldn't buy tickets and sites were crashing. Now, again, I don't know why these movie companies just didn't like bolster up their websites to make sure like, oh, they can handle the impact of all these people buying the tickets. Because it's like, you should know, especially in the business you're in, that people are going to want to see the movie. Like, you can even buy other movie tickets to other movies. Maybe you're trying to see like Clifford the Big Red Dog that's out in theaters. And you can even buy your tickets because there's so many people trying to buy freaking Spider-Man No Way Home tickets, and stuff like that. So I don't know why they didn't bolster up their, security and website stuff. So crashes on their website didn't happen. Like, for Avengers Endgame, at that time, it was the most entirely highly anticipated MCU movie at the time. And I think those companies bolstered up their whole ticket stuff so people could end up seeing it. And there was no issues there. Like, just think of it. Freaking Avengers Endgame, it was easier to get a ticket for Avengers Endgame. I know that was like way, way pre-pandemic, but it was a lot easier to get freaking Avengers Endgame tickets than it was to get here. Now, as of today, it's probably a lot easier to get Spider-Man No Way Home tickets because not a lot of people probably already gotten their tickets, and there's not a lot of there out there. If I were you, if you still haven't got your tickets, you probably, whether based on where you live, your theater might still have some nice show times and stuff like that. I would definitely try, if you want to go to AMC, I would definitely try. If I were you, go to maybe a Regal Cinema because they're just as good as AMC. I think AMC is slightly better, but I want to be mad if you don't go, because Regal is just as good, and in some cases, some of the stuff at Regal Cinemas are a lot cheaper than AMC. Especially if you don't have a Stubs account. And I would highly request you check out Regals because typically Regals are pretty good. And so like that, and typically some Regals have more seats than AMC, which means, well, guess what? More better seats to see. But again, if you're buying, it's a lot easier to buy your tickets. You can easily go buy your tickets now, get in through and get it. I checked out this morning and it's like, oh, I could have just slept on it. But I got my tickets last night. I'm good and set and everything. But if you're still struggling to get tickets, I would definitely say check maybe like early morning, afternoon times, because when I saw, especially surrounding theaters around me, there was no freaking there was no freaking seats taken. So maybe the best thing to do is go in the afternoon or early in the morning because nobody goes because, hey, people are freaking working and stuff like that. And you got other stuff going on. So yeah, but hey, I'd say try any theater you can, even if you have to make a drive out to somewhere maybe an hour away. If you really want to see the movie, again, that's up to you. But hey, if an hour movie theater an hour away has nice seats, well, honestly, I probably would take that. It's better than nothing. It's better than just looking at sold out seats and potentially getting spoiled on the movie. But yes. So that's the one thing that I wanted to talk about. But the main talking point about this video is the fact that, well, Amy Pascal, who works for Sony Pictures, has recently confirmed that, well, after Spider-Man No Way Home, well, there's going to be 3 more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. Now, some people might not be very happy about the news because they do not like Tom Holland Spider-Man for whatever damn reason. Listen, they're only going to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And I love those 2 actors who play Spider-Man. But they're only going to get them for probably about 30 minutes in the climax of the film. So you can jizz off and freaking go crazy and stuff like that for 1 minute because your favorite Spider-Man were in an MCU movie officially. Well, guess what? You're only going to get it for 30 minutes. So you're going to deal with the Tom Holland Spider-Man. Well, you got some people that love the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I'm a proponent that I love Tom Holland Spider-Man. He's my favorite Spider-Man out of all of them. And you can freaking not like that. But we got confirmed that, well, we're getting 3 more Spider-Man movies after Spider-Man No Way Home, which thank you. Because we all know way back before even No Way Home was a thing, there was a whole thing that Spider-Man was about to be taken on the MCU because Sony wanted the rights back and everything. And that was a whole shenanigan. I even remember making a freaking video about that on my channel, talking about how I think Sony is doing this in the wrong. Listen, I think Sony and Marvel can come together, share Spider-Man correctly. And guess what? At the end of the day, look at it. They dang near freaking broke websites down for people to buy tickets to see their Spider-Man movie. Yes, does someone have to deal with freaking Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man returning? Yes, it does. But it's like, still people are going to see this freaking movie to the point that you question, like, is this movie even more freaking hype than Avengers Endgame? But it's like seriously, it's like, why would you want to end this sharing agreement? You're going to lose out more money when and collectively you can make tons of more money together than you ever did before working together and stuff like that. So, and plus it's good for the fans. You get to see a fan favorite superhero character interact with characters that are definitely fan favorites too. Wasn't it cool to see Spider-Man be able to interact with guys like Iron Man and Captain Frickin' America? He's interacting with Doctor Strange in the new movie. We would have never seen that. He fought Thanos. Like, why wouldn't you want this? Don't understand. But listen, everybody who's a fan of the sharing agreement for Spider-Man can breathe a sigh of relief because Amy Pascal confirmed that there will be 3 more Spider-Man films. And stuff like that. I'll get into the whole interview and maybe find some questions. Actually, I'll bring it up now. So, Fandango actually did the interview with Amy Pascal. So, Fandango asked a question like this. We are very excited. Let me jump in. So, I don't take too much of your time. As someone who's been interactively involved in Spider-Man movies for the past 20 years, where does No Way Home sit on the list of Amy Pascal all-timers? Amy Pascal replies to this comment saying, oh, the movie is so ambitious, and the movie has everything that people have come to expect from a Spider-Man movie. All spectacle, all the heart, but at the same time as expansive as ever. It's a very intimate story that is about Peter Parker and his heart, which we know about that. This movie, No Way Home, is going to affect Peter Parker as a character, especially going forward in his journey of becoming, his journey of taking the role of being Spider-Man. The second question that was asked was, would you say this movie wraps a bow around 20 years of live-action Spider-Man movies? Amy Pascal goes on to say, well, here's what I would say. I would say that it's the culmination of a Homecoming trilogy, of the story of Tom Holland becoming the Spider-Man that we all been wanting him to be. It certainly tells a story, and it does. And as you know, from seeing the trailers, it does bring some of the characters from early movies together. And yes, wrapping a bow around it sounds nice. The next question was, speaking of the film, the film does bring back some villains from other Spider-Man films. Is there one villain that you're most excited to get another crack at? Amy Pascal replies by saying, "Oh, I couldn't possibly say that. I'm just thrilled that everybody is going to be able to see the magnificent actors reprise the roles which they were so brilliant at, and which they do this time. I think it's gonna be really special." Next question. Was it easy to wrangle all of those actors from previous films? Was that a fun pitch to bring them in? Amy Pascal goes on to say, you know what? If you love what you are doing and you're enthusiastic about it, they all loved playing those characters in the past. And there was not one of them who wasn't. Sign me up. Now, Fandango goes on to ask, how would you say Tom Holland Spider-Man evolved as a character in the third film? Amy Pascal goes on to say, I would say this movie deals with everything. It's about family, love, and honor and sacrifice, but it's always centered around the decisions that Spider-Man has to make, right? It's always about him being torn between the moment that he's in and the destiny that's in front of him. And that's what we've been dealing with in this movie in a really big way. The next question, how do you think Tom Holland has separated himself from previous versions of Spider-Man played by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield? Amy Pascal responds by saying, I think each of the actors brought their own kind of humanity to the character. All of them are brilliant, and Tom is singular. I think that he's embodied everything about Peter Parker that everyone was looking for. He is funny and charming and a fantastic athlete and a wonderful actor. He has such humanity. The next question is about Zendaya and Jacob Battalion's characters, the fact that they've been alongside Tom Holland along 3 films. Pascal replies by saying, you know, the 3 of them grew up together on these movies, and I think this one was really poignant for them since they started as sophomores and in the end, they're seniors on these films. And I think it was very emotional for them. They really grew up together, and as everyone knows, they're all great friends. Seemingly like she's hinting out something that maybe something happens to these 2 characters. No, I don't think nothing's gonna happen to Zendaya's character, but there's a lot of theory speculating that maybe Ned's character is gonna potentially get killed in this film. But then again, you know, I'll speak my theories on, you know, what they're gonna do with the next 3 movies. The next question says, this movie has so many little intricacies to it. Has it been one of the more difficult Spider-Man movies to sort of keep under wraps because of all the big surprises in it? Pascal responds by saying, boy, you could probably answer that question. Yeah, you know, yes, we don't want to spoil things for people, you know. That's one of the problems with movies is that people know everything before they walk into the theater. So we've been trying to make sure people get the full theatrical experience when they go to the movie. And yeah, you never try to confirm anything in a movie, but this one is a big one. The next question is, you know, as you wrap up this trilogy of films in collaboration with Marvel, and Amy Pascal said, can I say something about that? And she goes on to say, this is not the last movie that we are going to make with Marvel. This is not the last Spider-Man movie. We are getting ready to make the next Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and Marvel. It just isn't part of where thinking of this 3 films, and now we're going to go on to the next 3. This is not the last of our MCU movies. The person giving the question is like, it's great to know that this collaboration is going to continue. Pascal responds by saying, yes, Marvel and Sony are going to keep going together as partners. The next question is, while we're looking back at this specific trilogy, what's been your biggest takeaway from this collaboration with Marvel Studios? And do you think that this is something Hollywood could build from in the future? Or do you think this is like a rare bird or rare spider? Amy Pascal responds saying, rare spider. Spider-Man is always very special and different from everything else. But I think the beautiful thing is you had 2 big corporations that decided to work together for the good of the story and the character. And I don't think that's always the spirit that you see. Yeah, working together and helping each other make things be better is a good model. The next question, which honestly is a good question, is the fact that Fandango mentioned, is it tougher to weave together this Spider-Man universe and because Sony also has these other universe of characters like Venom and Morbius, and then there's the MCU characters, is it a bit of a juggling act to manage all these different characters? Pascal responds by saying, well, there's the Marvel Universe, which is one container, and then there's the Spider-Man movies, which are different. And then there's other universe where the Sony characters are in. We are all very respectful of each other and work together and make sure that we're only being addictive. The next question is, you're very familiar with Spider-Man movies over the years. So where do you think No Way Home ranks against all these other live-action Spider-Man movies? Do you think this is an all-timer for Spider-Man? Amy Pascal obviously says, well, I certainly hope so. The audience and the world will be the judge of that. Kevin Feige and I are very proud of this movie. The next question is, the film begins to explore more of the multiverse, but in a live action form. Audiences are a lot more familiar with the multiverse thanks to the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse film. How important do you think multiverse storytelling will be for comic book movies over the next 5, even 10 years? Pascal responds by saying, I think you're going to see a lot of people exploring those worlds because it's interesting. The parallel universes make for so many interesting stories, but I don't think that's every single movie is going to end up taking place in the multiverse. I think it's really exciting, and the movie certainly does that. The next question goes on the fact that we were about to talk. We were just talking to Phil and Chris about Phil Lord and Chris Miller about Into the Spider-Verse, and we asked them about the much larger presence multiverse storytelling has now in film and TV. There are right to say it was the comics that did it first. Pascal responds by saying, yes, it was. When I approached Chris and Phil about doing the Spider-Verse movie, I was still running Sony. I said, can you guys figure out how to do an animated Spider-Man movie? And the first thing they said to me was, absolutely. If we do Spider-Verse and we do Miles, and I'm like, right on, because of course it is in the comics, but nobody could have done it better than them. The next question is, how are things going on that second Spider-Verse movie? Pascal responds by saying it's going to be fantastic. We have something to show on that very soon, which I can't wait to see some sort of teaser getting into the Spider-Verse 2, because we know Into the Spider-Verse 2 was a great Spider-Man film, and I can't wait to see Into the Spider-Verse 2. I've been really, really hyped to see that film. The next question is, I'm sure fans will be happy to hear that, speaking of the fans, many of them want to see Tom Holland Spider-Man go up against Tom Hardy's Venom. They want to see a live-action Miles Morales. What would you say to those things? Do you have stuff in the works? Amy Pascal, I would say, replies saying, I would say there's so many things that we're going to be able to explore, but what we always have to do before we decide who the villain is going to be and what Spidey goes up against is, what is the story we're telling about? What is Peter Parker's story we're telling? What is Miles Morales' story that we're telling? But we always have to start with that. The good thing about these movies is, as big as the canvas they take place on can be, they're always just stories about a kid. Obviously, the kid says, just a kid from Queens. Pascal says, just a kid from Queens or Brooklyn in case of Miles, right? Because obviously Miles Morales is from Brooklyn. Amy Pascal says, in case of Peter, he's just a kid from Queens who got no money and wishes he could have a normal life. Next question asks, do you think we'll ever see Tom's Spider-Man in a movie not connected to the MCU? Amy Pascal responds by saying, we all want to keep making movies together. How's that for an answer? And the last question is, that's a good answer, Amy. As we wrap up, what do you hope audience take away from No Way Home? What do you hope they're talking about as they leave the theaters? Pascal goes on to say, Spider-Man is different for each person at different ages in their life. He means one thing to you when you're a kid. He means another thing to you when you're in the middle of your life, and another thing to you when you're older. I hope everybody finds that in this movie. I really think the movie is for everybody, and I think that it speaks to a large audience, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I definitely did like the interview and some of the questions, definitely foreshadowing of a lot of events, but the one major takeaway is the fact that Spider-Man No Way Home is getting 3 more movies in the MCU, obviously the MCU universe, which I think is great. Honestly, I enjoy it. And obviously the thing is, I figured that the next three movies are definitely going to focus on Spider-Man's Peter Parker's college life to his a semi-adult life, where he has to struggle about maintaining his college life and being an adult and trying to get jobs and stuff like that, as well as doing and being a hero as Spider-Man, which I think is one thing that a lot of people have in terms of the MCU Spider-Man want to see. They want to see the struggles Peter Parker has as essentially an adult, essentially, where he's on his own. He has to manage his funds and everything and things like that. So yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I definitely can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be very entertaining to see and stuff like that. And again, like I said, this also definitely confirms that Spider-Man is going to be like a major factor in the next few phases of MCU movies. Like, I know people call him Iron Man Jr. and stuff like that, but he literally is kind of going to be this new phase's Iron Man in a way, because he's the next biggest important character, if not in this entire phase of leftover Avengers we have. He is the most important character we have. Now, I don't think he's going to be jumping up to leader of the Avengers. Obviously, that's what Sam is going to do because he's the new Captain America, and stuff like that. But it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen going forward for these Spider-Man films. But I definitely feel like No Way Home's going to end on a high note where Doctor Strange is going to have to say, well, if you want to save the multiverse and stop all these things from happening, you're going to have everybody forget who you are. And I feel like that's going to have to be the thing. That's what's going to happen. That Peter's going to have to make the hard decision, the hard choice that, I'm going to have everyone forget about me. I think the only person I will probably remember is Doctor Strange because he did the spell, but everybody, all the Avengers we have now probably forgot about who he truly is. Everybody and his loved ones will probably more than likely forget about him. Everyone will forget about him. I see the Homecoming trilogy as, Peter Parker understanding how to become a superhero. That's kind of what the Homecoming series is about. It's Peter Parker understanding how to become Spider-Man, how to become a superhero. And the first one, it was the whole thing of, it's like what Tony said. What are you without the suit? What if you're just wearing your typical old handmade suit? What are you without all these gadgets and everything? And Spider-Man found a way to overcome all that stuff, and it made him become a better hero. In Spider-Man Far From Home, it was the whole thing of, making sure he's not so trustworthy to everyone he comes across against, because if things that shouldn't be, passed along to other people get in the wrong hands, it can screw you over. And a little bit of that is tying into this film, because obviously what he did in Far From Home, it's the repercussions of the events from Far From Home is kicking his ass right now in No Way Home, with everybody now knowing his identity and everything. So, and here, I think this is the culmination of everything in the past. Now, in the past two movies, is him realizing, I need to be, in order for me to be a better hero, I'm going to have to make some sacrifices. Some of those sacrifices, it might have to be at the expense of some of my loved ones not knowing who I truly am. Because we know Spider-Man's whole story is the standpoint that he's the one hero out of all the heroes in any comic book genre. And, he doesn't reveal his identity whatsoever. The only loved one he probably tells who he's Spider-Man, is more than likely either members of the Avengers, other superheroes, or 9 out of 10 times, or mostly probably Mary Jane, but even she's kind of I can't even tell her, and stuff like that. And I think that's what this movie is going to build on. The fact that Peter's going to have to grow and realize what the events are going to take place in this film. He's going to have to realize, I have to stop putting my loved ones in danger. I have to become Spider-Man with nobody knowing who I am. The events of Far From Home clearly showed me that. With all the other life lessons he's learned across the way. And even in the next trilogy movie, he's going to learn a lot more life lessons about managing his time of being a hero and, living a normal life and everything. But this trilogy, the Homecoming trilogy, is truly just about him in my opinion, feeling understanding, getting a grasp of what it's like to be a superhero, especially at a young age in high school. Because remember, this Peter Parker, he's still in high school, and everything, and he has to learn how to manage that. And I think this movie is going to make him grow to become a more understanding, a better character, and understanding like, okay, yeah, I need to take things a lot more seriously and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, Spider-Man is gonna be coming for 3 more movies in the MCU. So again, put in the comment section your thoughts on that, and things like that. As well as like the video if you did like this video. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the Amy Pascal interview. What are some things that you took away from the interview that you liked, or things that you're like, I don't know about, stuff like that. As well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more. Well, if you want to get my review of Spider-Man No Way Home, which I will be doing after I go see the movie, it'll be a non-spoiler and spoiler review. So get my thoughts on the movie, as well as any other MCU movie that comes out or any other superhero movie that I like to talk about. But other than that, guys, I'm the guy here. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll end this video. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys later. Peace.